Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm super excited about this next guest that I'm about to have on the screen with us. Her name is Lori Bell, and she's a healer, and she's been on my channel before. She's definitely someone that you guys asked to have back. But here's what's important about what she's going to help us with today. It's so interesting, right? Like we go through life and we want to block, we want to protect, we want to have a bubble where nobody can come in our bubble, right? I just need peace and quiet. I don't want all of this stuff in my energy. What she's going to help us with today is to understand, and it's so true. And my spirit guides have talked to me about this, but it didn't click until I talked to Lori about it. And now I'm like, oh, that's what they were trying to say. So this is going to be helpful. My spirit guide said, you're an empath. You're not supposed to go through life blocking all of the things. You're not supposed to go through life, in a steel cage, right? That's not why you signed up to be an empath. And I'm like, well, then why did I sign up to be? Because I don't think I remember that. And I need to see the signature and the contract. But anyway, it's another video. So what Lori's going to help us with today is she's going to help us understand. I think this is fascinating how our energy, if you think about that energy bubble that we all have, our aura, think about it being like a digestive kind of thing, like your stomach, right? Like you put stuff in your stomach's like, you go over there, and I'm going to throw you up because you were really bad and I'm ejecting you from my body. So anyway, I'm pretty sure that my aura, if it was consuming something it didn't like, it would just go, just blow it out. It would get rid of it, right? So we don't really need to have these steel protective auras around us, because it turns out that we come preloaded with the ability to integrate and to understand what we need to keep and what we don't need to keep. Does that make any sense? And thank you so much for joining me, Lori. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It's very, very hot here in Arizona. But we're staying inside with the air conditioning on and the fans. So that's what we're doing over here. You're hot too in Texas, though, I think.
Yeah, it's a different kind of hot, but it's like summer part 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're done. Like I know you guys in winter world, y'all are like done with winter in March, and you're like, please make it stop. It should be stopped by now. So we all have our cross to bear with the weather, I guess. Well,
Yeah.
and that brings me to a point. If you're in Arizona, you can actually meet Lori in person and get readings and healings done right there in person in Sun City. But she also does this online. So she has a YouTube channel. Check it out. I have all her information down in the description. And before we get started, she does have 2 classes coming up that I think are fascinating, or one class, which is a group hypnosis. So if you wanted to join a group hypnosis, this is a way to do it with way less money. And she has some discount codes for my viewers that you'll find down in the description that you can get a discount off of these things. But your other class is working with your inner children. Oh, wow. This is so important. Do you guys know how important this is? Because I always tell you guys, right? If you want to fix the outside, fix your relationship, fix your child, fix your job, fix whatever it is, you got to start in here. And none of us, including me, want to start in here. So this is a good way to begin that process, is to take her class, and you can save like a lot of money with her discount code that she's offering my clients and my viewers in the description. So good stuff. Okay, Lori,
Yes.
tell me how my aura can, eat, integrate, synthesize. Just think of my stomach like the acid breaking it down. Like, you want to come in my energy? Great. I'm going to eat you. I'm going to break you down, and then I'm going to eject you out the back end. And that's kind of what I feel like I want to do with some people when they get into my energy. So please help us understand how we can do this, or what's up with this situation.
So first, let's talk a little bit about the aura, the makeup of the aura. So the aura is supposed to be breathing constantly. We should see a pull thing. It really should look kind of like gills coming in and out like this. We never want to see that stopped or stagnant. We always want to see a movement, okay? So when we're looking at the aura, we're going to notice that we're going to see 7 layers to that aura. It's going to start about a little bit outside of the body. Then if you extend your hand, should come out to about the fingertips. That's going to be a pretty healthy aura. You're going to have 7 lines in there, okay? And in between those lines, there's going to be space there. And these lines should be permeable. It's like a filtration system, okay? So as this is moving, and really it works, if you think of breath, you think of your lungs, okay? When you breathe in, it expands, and when you breathe out, it contracts. The aura should be at pace with that, okay? So when you breathe in, you're going to feel the aura go out a little bit, and when you breathe out, you're going to feel the aura come in a little bit, right? So in the same way that the lungs take stuff in, take what they need, get rid of what it doesn't need, the aura has the ability to do that same thing. So when your aura is working well, whatever's coming in is going to filter through those lines first before it comes into you. Whatever's going out is going to filter through those lines before it gets out. This is super important because most of us do not want to be instant manifestors, right? We have not worked through enough of our stuff to be an instant manifester, right? Because we're emotional human beings. So if you were an instant manifester and you had an extreme emotion, that's not what you want to do. You want it to filter through that system a little bit, right? So what happens is anything that's consistent enough now starts to put that out there, right? But anything brief is going to digest itself before it makes it out into the outside world. And he always wants to come up and be in the video.
Love it.
He just knew. And the same way coming in. Now we train that with what information can be coming in and out of this, just like the digestive system. So with the digestive system, you eat food. That food has a lot of stuff in it. It's not just food. It's not just nutrients, but it has it has pesticides. It can have bacteria. It can have parasites. I mean, it can really have all kinds of things in there. Hair. I mean, in my house, it has cat hair. You know, definitely my food has cat hair. And if you have a well-working digestive system, then you understand that it's going to break that down for you. And it's going to neutralize some of those other harmful things. And basically what it's looking for is it wants to recognize, he's distracted me. It wants to recognize the nutrients from the non-nutrients. And if it can understand that and it knows what it needs, then it's going to extract what it needs and it's going to get rid of the rest with the waste. That's a healthy digestive system. Everybody knows what it feels like to have digestive issues. You know, you really don't feel good. So that's kind of what's happening with people. It's not that the negativity or the world is the problem, but they're kind of constipated. You know, they're energetically constipated. So if you put too much stuff in, and then it doesn't have a chance to break down and come out, when the new stuff comes in, you feel more and more bloated, more and more uncomfortable. So this is kind of what's happening with people is they're energetically bloated. And so when one thing hits it, it pushes it over the top and they're feeling really uncomfortable. So they're feeling afraid. I've had, what made me reach out again to talk about this is I've had several clients that have been coming to me lately. Some of these clients are long-time clients that I've been seeing for a very long time, whose energy systems are really good, and we've mostly been doing maintenance. And they're coming in like a mess. And so when I'm done, I'm like, what is going on? Like, I've never seen you so closed down. And then they're telling me, Well, I, saw a video, or I saw a thing, or I'm closing down my aura, or I'm closing down my chakras. When you close down your aura and you close down your chakras, that's like sewing your butthole shut. No waste can get out. It's stuck now in your system. We don't want to be closing anything down. Very, very, in extreme situations, right? Extreme situations is the only time that I ever ask people to shut something down. That's usually going to be if you're trying to get out of a relationship that's, kind of a dangerous relationship, or something that's not really beneficial for you, that's really, really harming you, and you're having a hard time getting out of that relationship. Then we might want to close things down for a short period of time until you can get out of that situation. So it's more of like a preservation type of a thing, not running around in your every single day life, right? So we can do that for very short periods of time to get yourself out of a place that might be harmful for you. But the minute you get over there, you need to open that back up. Okay. So we actually do want stuff to come in. That's like saying, I'm not going to eat the food because it might have something harmful in the food. You're going to starve yourself. You want to trust and build your digestive system so it has the capacity to do that. So every energy system that we have is a digestive system. It has this ability to break it down. So not one system is doing all of the work, but all of the systems are doing little bits of the work. But when one system stops doing that, then that backs up to the other system to have to do, right? And what happens in a lot of people's system is one goes down, then the other goes down, then the other goes down, and we've got one system trying to deal with everything that's coming in. So this is a little more of what's happening than just what's going on in the world, okay? So how do we start to train our first? We want to teach it, because you're the boss, right? You're the boss of your energy system. You have created it. You told it what to do. You told it how to work. The thing is that we've done that from an unconscious place or a subconscious place. We haven't done it from a conscious thinking about it and interacting with it in that way. So it just runs the way that it runs. So you go out to the grocery store, or you go out to Walmart or something like that, and you start to feel this, and you have to run out of the building, and then you can't do the things that you want to do. You can't be in the places that you want to be. You can't see friends that you. When I first started this a few decades ago, I couldn't go anywhere. There were some times I couldn't even get to the car fast enough. There were a couple times I had to sit down in the parking lot before I could get to the car, because that's how overwhelmed I felt, right? And I was doing the normal things that, my teachers, instructors, and everybody and books were telling you to do, which was close things down and put barriers up and stuff like that. And it really was never helping that much, And it was when I started to be told by the energy system, actually, that you're doing it wrong, And now it's like, oh, how do we do it, And then this is what it's telling me to do. Breathe it in and out. Don't hold it, right? Because you're bringing it in and then you're holding it. And what is teaching your energy system? What's teaching your energy system is anything that you engage with, anything that you judge, anything that you have an opinion about, anything that you think you're right or wrong about, anything that you start to hone in on, okay? You're telling your digestive system that this is what we eat. You see that? Yeah. So the minute I engage with it, the minute I'm irritated that somebody is acting the way that they act, because that's the way that they are, the minute I have an opinion about that, the minute I think that that's wrong, that is training your energy system that that's what we digest. That's what we bring in. Okay. So what we want to tell it is that is not what I bring. That is the waste product, right? But what the nutritious part of that is the interaction. Right? Because we're all always asking for help. Always. We're always asking, praying or meditating or using positive affirmations or whatever it is that you do, and whoever it is that you talk to in the universe, that you're asking for help with this and help with that and help with this. Well, the help comes through the environment. That's the thing. It comes through the songs. It comes through the movies. It comes through the people. It comes through the interaction. It comes through the books and not all of those things. That's where it comes from. So it's waiting for you then to go and buy that food. And to be able to buy that food, you have to be able to engage with that, because you don't know where you're going to get your message. This has happened to me so many times. I don't know where the message is going to come from. And it could come from a source that you judge as a negative person, a negative thing, right? But they might say that one thing that you've been asking for forever. So that's the ability to break that apart. So I want my nutrients. I want that information. So I want things to come in. But I don't want them to hit me like a ton of bricks, right? So I want to feel it when it nudges the edge of my aura. Boop, boop, right? Starts nudging the edge of my aura. And I start to, whoa, wait a second. And then that's where you're consciously making a decision. Like you say, this person is not really my person, right? So I would prefer that but this breakdown before it gets into me. But in its breakdown process, while it's going through these layers, please bring me the part that belongs to me, right? So what's the 10%? So in any interaction that you have and anywhere that you go in your life, there's going to be 10% for you. And that's an arbitrary number. It could be 1%, it could be 60%. But just to get the brain on board with this and understanding it, I'm looking for my 10%. My 10% is the way that I put my puzzle together. The 10% is the way that I find, the answers, the things that I'm looking for. So I'm looking for my 10%. So when you're engaged with somebody and you're looking for your 10%, that's breaking down the waste. Anything else that's not your 10%, right? So they could be going on about whatever it is they want to be going on. I don't care. I just want my 10% of whatever that's going to be, right? And maybe it's 0%. I really don't think it is. It's just not. Every interaction that you have and every place that you go and every situation that you're in is designed and set up for you. So there's something for you to gain in there, even if it's for you to see yourself more clearly. If you're sitting in front of a person and you're thinking and you're judging the way that they're coming off, then you can't see maybe the nutrients is this person is running their life on their fear. This person is running an autopilot. Where am I doing that? Where am I running my life in autopilot? So you're bringing it back to you and you're feeding and nurturing yourself. And you're allowing these amazing systems that we have to do their job. It's what they do. And we're trying to override it because we think with our mind that we're smarter than these energy systems that are way more intelligent than we are and have way more information than we can ever understand. So when we're trying to override that, then we're not allowing it to do the job that it does. And then what happens is it gets weak, just like not going to the gym, right? And your muscles get weak. And then you can't lift as much, or you can't do as much, or you throw your back out, or all of these kinds of things. So if you feel like you can't go and live your life, then you have weak muscles in your energy systems. You have weak muscles in that auric system. And we want to build those up so we can be stronger and stronger and stronger and be able to go to the places. Because the interesting thing is that we're an energy recycling plant. So we can actually take, where do you think this energy is being produced? In here. We are the energy generators of the world. Whatever we're producing in here comes out and forms the world, right? So if you don't like what the world looks like, you become a different energy generator, which isn't just that you tell everybody else what to do, but you actually become that. You become the change that you want to see in the world, which is to not allow yourself to keep engaging and basically eating your own waste, is what we're doing. We're just recycling our own waste over and over again when you get upset with these people and things like that, instead of saying, might not be my view, so I can go over here. I don't need, they can go over here and I'll go over here, and I don't need to engage so much with that. But we don't, we don't want to constantly be doing that, because we want to live our life. We want to be able to live our life. You want to be able to go to the places that you enjoy. and be around those kinds of situations. So the more you just kind of pull your focus back to you and what you're doing in that moment, and not what everybody else is doing over here. The minute you get engaged with what somebody else is doing over here, you're inviting that in. That's what you're giving it to the key to your energy system. You're saying, I have an opinion about that, so come on in, opening that right up. And so the first thing that I start to do if I get around anybody that I'm just like, ugh, because we all have that. We just don't all get along. And if ever I get around that, or even sometimes when I'm sitting with clients, and I'm not saying this from a bad perspective, but I'm saying that they have really sad stories. Some people have really sad stories. They've had things happen to them. They're going through some really challenging situations, and they're sharing that with you. And I want to be able to allow that to come in so that I can sift through that material and see how to help them, right? And but I don't want that to stay anywhere in me. So I just let I'll start breathing my aura while I'm sitting there. And what I'm telling it is can you please just sort of digest out anything that's not beneficial to them and not beneficial to me, but bring inside to me what I can do to assist them and to help them. So then you become very powerful, because you're not at the hands of everybody else, but you're at the hands of your own self, right? So start cycling that out. What I see a lot in when clients come to me in the aura is a rhythm issue. So what that means is we have this side going out and this side coming in, and it's sort of moving almost like this instead of like this, right? It's moving like this. Or one side is breathing and the other side isn't doing anything. So I see that a lot. Or a lot of debris has built up, like a lot of waste has built up in the aura, a lot of times in the bottom of the aura. And so the top's breathing a little bit, but the bottom is starting to sort of suffocate down there, right? And then they feel that. And that's why people say, I feel off, something doesn't feel right. I don't know what's going on. I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. I'm so exhausted, because now it's draining your energy. It's just your energy is really trying to keep up with all of this waste product. But if it gets too backed up, then it really starts to struggle, and it will go down. It will shut down when it's at its limit. It will shut down and it won't keep going. Does that make sense? Hopefully
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It makes all the sense in the world. I mean, everything has a filtration system. Your car has a filtration system, your air conditioner, everything. I just love everything you've just said. And I love how you gave us a way to breathe our aura when we're in a situation, right? So even like if you're in the hospital, you're visiting somebody in the hospital, or you're going through a stressful time, you're at the doctor's office, or you're at, the DMV trying to get a new driver's license, whatever it is, you can imagine, your aura just breathing in and out, right?
Yeah.
Like for me as an empath, but also as an introvert, like sitting in the airport or sitting in a place where there's just a lot of like just stuff, so instead of like being small and armoring up, it's so much more empowering to say, I can be fine because I'm breathing and I'm filtering the stuff that I don't need. Right. And then guess what? When you filter things, you're left with the gold. You're left with the pearl. You're left with the thing that's left is the thing you really need, like that 10% that you're talking about. So the thing that I would ask is, when people are, and I think intuitively you just know, like you said to me just now, Lori, you said people just say, I just don't feel right. I'm tired, or I don't want to go anywhere. But specifically, how would you feel if you're off balance? Like if one side of you is breathing and the other isn't, number one, and number two, the sides matter, like the dominant is receiving or giving. I mean, does that matter too? Would you say, well, if you're not receiving, it might be on this side of your body? So could you give us some more information about that?
Well, so our masculine energy is produced on the right side of the body, feminine energy is produced on the left side of the body. And that doesn't mean boy, girls, but it really means qualities, right? And what those are trying to do is help each other stay a little bit like that, not get one out of any kind of control. So we've heard that called like a yin and a yang, and they sort of go together like this, and they're supposed to meld together, and they're supposed to work together, and they're supposed to keep each other in balance and not let. I've seen more women come in with masculine dominant, young dominant energy running through their bodies. And then they have a lot of health problems and things like that because it's an active energy. Masculine energy is an active energy. It builds up for an action. That's what it does. It's like we're trying to get to the action. So when you don't take action, then it builds and builds and builds and builds, and it's very hot. It's just very hot. But that's off topic a little bit. But so we're gonna see that on the side of the body. It doesn't necessarily, because the aura kind of works like one entity, if that makes sense. So when we look at, and I think you're gonna put a picture up that I have, and when we look at that, we're looking at a very 1D or very one-dimensional type of a thing. But if you imagine that that's around your entire body like an egg, okay? So like around your
egg.
Like an egg, yeah, it's like the womb. It's like the womb. You're in the womb, and then it's feeding you. But the womb is also filtering some of the stuff before that gets to you, right? I kicked him because I didn't know he was down there. So he's really distracting me. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
He wants
cats.
And so if you imagine it like an egg, right? And it's constantly pulsing and constantly moving. So it's not necessarily, and I mean, I haven't seen every person in the world, but from the people that I've seen, I haven't noticed any particular like masculine, feminine, dominant thing going on in the auric system. Maybe sometimes it gets stuck in some of the spaces there, if that makes sense. But not necessarily that it's auric related, but more that whatever they're dominant with is trying to push its way out, and it's getting stuck somewhere in there, and then it's building up on them.
Okay.
That makes sense. And so a lot of people will come and they'll say, I went to this practitioner, I went to this person, and they said, I have all this, like I had this darkness in my aura or something like that. And and then they're scared, they're freaked out. And I tell them, that's not a bad thing per se. But what I'm going to ask when I go in, is it doing a good job of digesting it? That's all I care about. If it's doing a job, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to let it do what it's going to do, right? So if I see some material in there, I'm going to ask, can I see that it's working? Is it moving well? Is it digesting it out? Or does it need a little bit of help from me? Okay. So just because we see these things, this is a constantly moving system. You're not going to be upset. Like, I cannot believe that I have fecal matter in my intestines. You always have fecal matter in your intestines. And that's not a problem unless it gets backed up. Right? So what we want to just make sure is that it's constantly moving. That's all we want to see, is that it's constantly moving. We don't want to be afraid because something dark exists in there. You're made of everything. So of course, everything is going to exist in there. We just want to make sure that it's able to deal with what's coming in there. That's going to be that's the biggest thing, right? None of these other things are actually problems. The problem is just the constipation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's almost like when you have an illness and your intestine gets cleaned of all the good bacteria, and then you don't want something to be too clean because you got rid of all the supporting bacteria that is bacteria, right? I mean, so yeah. I think Americans, or I think humans in general, we associate health with being very clean and very scrubbed clean, but I think you just make a really good point that sometimes in your life, you've just got stuff you're going through and your body is processing it, and allow that to continue doing it. So my question is, how can we keep things moving? Like, what advice would you give us to keep our aura, like humming, the engine of the aura just moving and going and doing its own thing.
And I want to make a point to something that you said is when we scrub things clean. When you scrub things clean, then your immune system becomes weak because it doesn't have anything to learn of, right? It's important to come in contact with bacteria. There's a very specific reason why babies put everything in their mouth. That's why they're training their immune system to work well. The immune system has to come in contact with the thing before it can learn how to deal with the thing, right? So your energy system is the same way. It has to come in contact with it to learn how to deal with it. That doesn't mean that we have to subject ourselves to things that, like go stand in the middle of, Walmart and open your, no, we don't want to, small increments of things, right? we build the immune system, we build the, and so the easiest way to work with the aura is to imagine it with the breath. So we'll just do it right now. If everybody wants to kind of just close their eyes for a second, you showed the picture. So you have this idea of these 7 layers there that start right outside the body and they stretch out to about the tips of the finger. And so as you take a deep breath, what you're going to feel is your aura just slightly, it's not going to go out a ton. It's just going to be a very slight, as you feel the lungs, you're going to expand that aura just a little bit. And then when you breathe out and you contract the lungs, you're going to feel it come in just a little bit. It's going to feel amazing. Breathe in again. Feel it expand. Breathe out. Feel it contract. Breathe in, expand. Breathe out, contract. And probably the first thing that you're going to notice is how calm your body feels.
Yes. Yes. So what if people felt like a little bit of pressure? Like
that means that your filtration system's clogged, right? So as you're pushing out, you feel it tight. It's tight. Think of a balloon when you blow that up, right? It's getting tight. So that means that it's not able to filter itself out. And
I need an auric Roto-Rooter. That's what you just said. I need an auric Roto-Rooter. I'm good with it. I'm like, this is work pushing this sucker out. Like,
you feel it, huh?
Oof, like I'm going to be tired after 3 of these things. I may take a nap.
And think about when any time in our life where we haven't worked out for a while and then you go to the gym the first time or whatever, how do you feel? And you go home and like the next day you're like, I don't think working out is good for me because I don't feel good, right? So it's, at first, yeah, it's not used to doing it, right? Its muscles haven't built its way up. So the goal is that it's effortless. You breathe and it just pulses, it just pulses. And then you start, and you can actually then do that. Like if you're feeling very emotional or you're feeling very upset, just start filtering it. What it does is it dilutes it as it moves through the system. So what we mostly are feeling when because a lot of people are afraid of their own emotions, and that's why they have trouble with the world, because they don't know what to do with it when they feel the way that they feel. And if you realized that you can say, okay, let's digest this, right? You feel better almost immediately. The quicker you can catch it, okay? So emotions are kind of like they will build. So if you feel something and you sit down and you breathe that out, you're going to sort of get that equilibrium back. If you wait too long, it's going to be harder to do that. So we have to start training ourselves to turn to our tools when you need them in the middle. The tools are not something you practice when you have time. The tools are something that you practice in the middle of it when you're sitting at the TV, when you're at the
windshield wipers. Yeah. Like windshield wipers. You don't wait until you can't see to put them on. You put them on when it's just starting to rain, right? Like you engage when you need it. I love that.
So the minute you start to feel it, whenever because we want to live life. We want to have jobs and go to places and have family and have friends and all of these kinds of things. But if you're so caught up with the way that they're acting and the things that they're doing and the way that they're talking and the way that they're choosing to express themselves, which is really none of our business, you know, and we don't want anybody telling us that. I don't want anybody telling me how to express myself. So why do I have any business telling other people how to express themselves? So that starts to tell my auric system here, that's none of my business. So you don't need to pay attention to, we can just diet. That's the waste product that's coming right out. I'm not engaging with that. I'm going to let them be whatever they're going to be. I may excuse myself, you know, because I don't want to be in the presence. But we don't have to be afraid of it, because you have to have jobs and things like that. And everywhere you go, there's going to be people that you don't like, people that don't have the same opinions that you have, people that are brash and hard, whatever they are, that you don't approve of. And the more you're constipated, the less you can eat, you know. We're talking a lot about poop today, I think. But I think it's kind of relevant to give you the brain, right? So give the mind something to understand, so that when you're sitting there, so now you're all going to be sitting there listening to somebody talk. I told one lady that what you're doing when I look into your energy system is basically you're feeding yourself your own waste. You just keep going like this, you know. So now you're all going to be sitting there thinking, am I feeding myself my own waste? And you're not going to want to do that anymore, you know. It's not good for us, and it's not good for anybody else. And really, to go, I'm being asked to share something. To go one more step here, we're a recycling plant. So actually, all of the stuff that you hate about the world and all of the stuff that you think is really ugly and really gross, let's just call it the shadow of the world. You can actually bring that through the system and change it into something else, because energy is not created or destroyed, it changes form, you know, and we have the ability to change that form of something. So if you see this ugliness coming off, know that that person is not capable of generating anything other than that. That's what we need right now. I know too many healers that are blocking too much stuff out. If the healers of the world cannot transform this energy, then who the hell is? Sorry, but who the hell's doing it? You know, somebody needs to be able to do this work. Somebody needs to be brave enough to be able to face this shadow stuff. And the only reason that we're really afraid of it is because we don't understand it, you know. So if you want to be a healer, then do that, be that, show up there. You know, they asked Mother Teresa, why do you go to the slums? And she said, because that's where I'm needed, you know. And not be afraid of being able to face whatever is going to be there. Because what people have a hard time with is being down in the mud, right? And so we need to not be afraid of the mud, so you can get in the mud with them and help them to get out of that. So part of that is you have that ability to do that through your energy system, if you're not afraid of it. And you don't have to, because on days that you're not feeling very good, or you haven't slept well, or you're hangry, you know, or you're dealing with your own stuff in your own life, that might not be the time to do that. So you tell your system, look, I have my own too much of my own garbage for you to work on right now, so we're not taking in any outside stuff. But on days that you're feeling, you know, really good and those kinds of things, try it. Be that little recycling plant. I hope that didn't get off topic, but it came through kind of strong, just to share that for some of the people that maybe are contemplating how to do that.
I think it's very on topic. I mean, how can we, that's kind of the problem, right? We feel overwhelmed. It's not just our work, our family, our neighbors, our kids. It's the great big energy of what's happening in our world that's also coming into our energy. That's where I think people start to block too. It's like, I can't do it. But I think you bring a really good point too about taking care of yourself. You're not supposed to just be like the cleaner for the whole world, right? That we're not asking you to do that either. We're asking that if if you need to engage your filtration system for you to be able to go to the festival because you really want to go to the festival, then do that. But even though the festival might have a lot of people that you don't really like there, you know what I mean? So instead of just saying, I'm not going to get involved in all of that, you really can do it with this system of recycling and but also filtering. And you give so much great information, so much helpful information, because learning those tidbits from those people, even the ones that are irritating you, is gold. It's just so important. Like, wow, okay, I see myself in that one little tiny aspect, that one little tiny thing, but it clicked. It like made everything that you've been trying to figure out make sense. So I love that. So doing the breathing would you suggest that people who haven't done this a lot, do you suggest they do this once a day or 3 times a day or once a week, or what's a good regimen?
So, sometimes we go to more is better, and that's not always true in the beginning. So, if you are going to start, if you got up in the morning, you said, I'm going to start running today, you're not going to go run a mile, but you might run to the mailbox, and come back. So, and here's the thing to, I'm getting data coming in. Here's the thing to, and sometimes they rush me, and I would just like to slow down a minute because I have something I want to say. Sometimes we get excited and we want to hurry up and to do those things. But the thing is that if you have a backup of waste, you want to go very slow, right? Because if you go too fast, where is that waste going? So we want to start kind of slow. So if you were like, all this that she said makes so much sense, I'm going to go in and I'm going to clean out my aura for the next hour, you're probably going to get really sick because you just started moving all this waste product through your system, right? And you want to move small bits of waste product through your system because it doesn't know how to do it yet. It hasn't really built up yet. So when I work with people, I have a lot of people that come to me that have been to other practitioners. I never want to discount any other practitioner because everybody's doing the thing that they're doing, and they have their set of people that particular thing works really, really well with. But just to say this, to say to other practitioners out there, in case this resonates with you, I have a lot of ones that come through and they've gone to other like Reiki and things like that. And I've had some students that have come through, and their idea is that if a person is sick or sad or low or whatever, you need to blast them with Reiki or blast them with high vibrational stuff. And what they do is they don't feel good. So I have a lot of people come, they're like, I did it years ago. I really didn't feel good. I've been skeptical, but somebody told me you were really good, and they're like this. They're just like so afraid to even come back into the healing room because of how they felt, because the person blasted them. So if you don't want to blast somebody, if their vibration is down here, you want to bring it here. You don't want to bring it up here right away. That might be the goal, but start very small with their system because you want them to feel good and want to keep coming, right? Instead of, I got to blast them. It's like power washing them. You don't want to take a shower in a power wash. You want to take a shower with just a nice, not power wash people. So that's what I would say for people that want to start this is play with it like we just did. And you got a sense, right? You felt the pressure there. So
Yes.
So now that's your start place, right? So now that what that pressure feels like. So maybe we do like 5 of those, or even 2, if 2 feels good, 2 breaths, right? And you work up. So maybe do once a day. I think it's best to always do first thing in the morning. Sometimes if we do these practices at night, you can't sleep because it gives you a lot of energy. But the best time to do this is when you're laying in bed before you get up, right? Laying there, it takes 10 seconds, 30 seconds, or whatever. And you start your day with a workout. And you just do that simple thing, just imagining it. And I can already hear it because it's telling me that some people out there right now are saying, but I didn't see or feel anything. Okay, that's okay. You're not going to at first because your brain doesn't understand what it's looking for. The brain is constantly looking for, it's analyzing data. Okay, so it's looking for what are we doing? What are we doing? It's looking for the action. It's looking for the action. And it doesn't understand yet. That's why I like to give people the diagrams. It's for the mind. That's for the brain. That picture is for your brain. So your energy system already knows what that looks like, but your brain doesn't know what that looks like. So now that your brain kind of understands what that looks like, it's with that a little bit more. So when you're sitting there and you close your eyes and you're like, I didn't see anything and I didn't feel anything, keep doing it. Okay. So you just close your eyes and you breathe in and out and in and out, and you're going to feel that in your own body. When you breathe in, you feel your body expand. When you breathe out, you feel your body contract. So now take it, because a lot of people are body bound. This is the problem. They've taken those layers of their aura and they've closed them down like this. So all of the layers are sitting really close to the body. Most people who have physical illnesses or really severe things, that's what you're going to find with their aura sitting really close to the body. That's a protection mechanism. So when we feel like we need to protect ourselves, and some people do that in childhood. What happens when you close down the layers is nothing's getting through or out, right? It's just sitting, it's just basically blocking everything from going anywhere. So for people who have those closed down, they may not see the little lines here, right? Or maybe they have a couple layers that are sticking together. So they can see space between a couple, but now they get out here and they can't see the outer ones. The outer ones are going to be that you don't want to let stuff come in. The inner ones are going to be that you don't want to let stuff go out, right? And so how do we fix it? Practice. Because it's doing what it's doing because of repetition, because you've done the same thing over and over again and you told it to work this way. So now we just do it the same way in the other direction. So basically what you're doing is giving instruction to your energy system. You're saying, this is the way that I want you to work. You are educating. You are the boss. You're the boss, and this is your employee. And you need to tell it, train it well, and tell you've trained it, and this is the way you've trained it. So thank you so much for your service, for putting in all of this time and putting up with me. But we're gonna go through some retraining now because we brought in some new management, and this isn't working as well for us. So now we're gonna do this a different way. And that's how you start to engage with that, right? So anytime you're out anywhere, we just start engaging with our own filtration system. And the more condensed the energy is where you are, the more you'll have to kind of work there a little bit. But the thing is that if you practice this every day, and once you get a little good at it, then you'll just start doing it all day, every day. I do it mostly after I finish with a client, but sometimes during. Depends. Like I said, if there's just a lot of sadness, a lot of things coming at me, sometimes I'll just do that while I'm working with them, or in Walmart or things like that. If it's really condensed energy, you just start breathing through that. So you can use it whenever you want. But the thing is that the more you start doing it, it will just do it automatically. Like you will just find yourself automatically doing that because it's an automatic system. It's not meant to be a conscious system. It's meant to be an automatic system. But that automatic system is trained through repetition. And if we don't do that repetition from the conscious standpoint, then it just does whatever it wants to do. So your employees are basically running the department. And then the manager is going to say, well, hold on a little bit. We need to get this in order a little bit. Does that make sense?
No, it 100% makes sense. It 100% makes sense. So if I just want to see if I could quantify something. If
Okay.
I started doing this process consciously, right? Like I understand once it gets going, it's not really something I'll do consciously. But right now, I do need to do it consciously. So I start doing it once a day in the morning when I'm waking up and I'm in bed. I maybe do 3 breaths, and then maybe I increase that to 5. And then after, say, a couple of weeks, what would you be? Are there any specific things people might experience, like more energy, sleeping better,
Mhm.
clearer thinking? I mean, are there any things that you might be able to say people might experience?
All of those things, because it's not, think about when you get backed up, in your stomach, like everything gets backed up. That feeling that you feel, right? So if the digestive system's working well, you don't even know what it's doing. Who stops to think, oh, what, my intestines are digesting my food? Like, you don't really think about that through the day until it's not, until it becomes comfortable and uncomfortable, and it becomes built up. And so when it's running smoothly, you're not going to catch it as much. So when you do this practice, then you're going to catch it when it starts to get backed up, right? So if I'm sitting here and I'm like, ooh, I'm not feeling good, well, that's flushed, we got to flush. It's letting me know. It's letting me know that we've got something stuck here, we have a problem, and I need your attention. So sometimes it's going to ask you for your attention. So in the beginning, we're going to give it 100% of attention. Then it's going to start falling into more automatic, but it's going to want to say to you sometimes, I need you to pay attention to this. I need you to look at this a little bit, right? It's going to communicate with you. And another thing that I'm being told is to mention that spirit speaks to you, and that needs to come in, right? So when you're blocking things, you're blocking things. We don't want to be blocking things. Everything needs to be able to come in, but we just need to. There's a lot of spirit guides out there, and they're not all. Well, it's just like people. You can put 100 people in a room, and you could go talk. You could pick a topic, and you could go put 100 people in a room, and you could ask each one of those people their opinion on it, and you're going to get a different one. It's the same thing with spirit guides. Some of them are lower guides, some of them are higher guides. We want to go to the lower guides when we're dealing with lower information. They're going to have more. They're going to know more about the physical world, and so we need to be able to filter that a little bit, right? Is to say, sometimes guides talk to me and I'm like, no, not for this person, that's not relevant. Sometimes I'll have dual things coming in, right? So that's the thing. When you allow everything to come in, I'll be having an argument with guides about the way that this should go. I'm working on somebody and I'm like, this doesn't seem to be working very well. So what should this do? What should I correct this to? And I'll have one guide saying it should go like this, and I'll have another guide saying it should go like this. And they're giving me the data and the information, and I'm like, that makes sense, and that makes sense. And then ultimately, I make the decision based on what I know about the person, right? So we want to be able to have all of that data coming in, because I get two parts of it. I get this side of it, and I get that side of it, and then I come in here and I take bits of that, and I take bits of that, and I put that together. So yes, when you start to do this, you're going to have more energy. You'll notice when you get in the slump part of the day, clean your aura out, flush your aura out. Take some nice deep breaths, get that body oxygenated. You're going to feel a lot better. When you start to feel tension in your body, that's your aura pushing in on you, right? So start stretching. This is stretching. This is like stretching those muscles, moving that body. When you don't move your body, what does that feel like? You get up and you move your body, you feel a lot better. We're not as stiff. We don't need the oil can. So we need to do that in the same set. Did I answer your question, or did I just
Yes.
go
No,
on all
no. You totally did. No, you totally answered my question, and you threw some extra credit tidbits in there too, that I know people will ask about. You said lower guides and higher guides. Well, what she's talking about is lower. It doesn't mean lower, but it means closer
No.
to the human experience, right? Like the spirit guides that get the human experience. Like if I ask my higher self, it's going to give me potentially, if I go to a really high guide, it's going to give me this philosophical, answer. And I'm like, I just want to know if I need to take the job or not. I don't want to know about this. Where are you in your life? What kind of guidance do you need? So she's saying, I'm bringing these guides that are in the human 3D. This is what this person needs. Sometimes you do need that philosophical, big picture kind of guidance, and you can get those different guidance from those different guides. I think it's fascinating too that you have two different guides giving you kind of a little bit differing
Mhm.
suggestions and how to work with the person. And I think that's really fascinating. And I think that confounds people that, well, how can these guides have differing opinions? How can they, they're guides. They're supposed to know everything. They're supposed to know everything, right? So we
Based on their
kind of have this black and white. We have this black and white, and that's again what Lori's trying to teach us is it's not black and white. Bring in the all the different opinions and all the different things and filter it out. So in that case, you have two guides giving you two different things, slightly different. How would you explain that? How would you end up with two different guides having two different opinions?
An example would be I was putting together a Reiki class one time, and I was making up the printouts, for the class, and I was doing the energy generator, the figure 8 thing, and I was making a diagram, and when I put it there, and something kind of got my attention is I don't know if this should go through the 7th chakra or it should go through we won't talk about that, but another chakra anyways. And so I had one guide say it should go through the 7th chakra, and I had another say no, it should go through the other one. And I said, so I said, okay, tell me why. I want to hear what you're. And so the one said, well, because they're not going to understand if you take it through the other one. And so they went back and forth for a little bit. And ultimately what it came out was one guide was just saying, it's not going to make any sense to them. This is going to make more sense. None of this is really how it is anyways. This is just trying to feed some information to the mind. So it's better to make it as simplistic as you can. The other one was saying, well, no, we got to go into the whole and this and that, and blah, 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 And so ultimately I said, I agree with the simplistic version of it. So that's kind of how it can happen sometimes. And some of the guides are specific for, like you said, if you're like, I need to figure out how to make more money, and you go to a higher guide, they're going to be like, why do you need money? You don't need money. But I want to pay my bills. So you're going to want to go to the lower guides and say, how do we bring in more of that? And so it's like consultants, and they have experiences. The guides have experiences, and so they can only know what experience they've had. That's it. And they're trained for that, and there's a specific reason for that, because we're all at different levels, so you need different guides for different levels. We can't just go straight to the top. You don't start in preschool and then go into graduate school. You have to go through all the grades. So you have to have teachers that the first grade teacher cannot teach, the graduate math. So, but it can really teach 1 + 1 where this other teacher can't, So we do want all of them. So I want just give me all the information. Give me all the information. I will assess it, and then I will make the ultimate decision because I'm the practitioner. So, I'm going to make the ultimate decision about how that's going to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's so important. It's so important because, listen, you guys, you're the human. You're the human operating on planet Earth. They're not a human operating on planet Earth. Like Lori said, yes, they've got some fantastic, really important data information for you. But in the scheme of things, you're the boss of you, and you're the boss of your life, and you're the one that has to show up in your life and do the thing. It's just so interesting, because I was just talking to somebody earlier where I said, there was one point in a different part of my life where I was just taking advice and doing whatever someone told me. Like, you need to do these things. And I ended up doing those things, but I didn't want to do them. I was just doing them because I thought it's what I was supposed to do. And then I wasn't happy doing them. And you're not going to be successful if you're not happy. So it goes right back to, you take the guidance. You take it on board, you think about it, you try it on, it might be perfect, like the perfect fit for you right now. Or that guidance really is going to be a better fit for you in 6 months or 8 months. just put it to the side, write it down in your book, like I tell you guys, and ask for this guidance to come back when it's most needed, right? Like they're not going to go away if you don't listen to them. Believe me. If you don't listen to them enough, they'll decide that you're not ready for that information and they'll just put it on hold for a minute and they'll come back and work with you. Yeah, I think it's been super helpful, actually. Yeah, I've learned so much in this conversation with you that I feel like I was in a class. Like I didn't know any of this stuff.
I think this
So
was like a free class.
totally was a free class. It totally was a free class. I really appreciate it. And I'll just remind you guys that she's got a YouTube channel that she's begun, a website. She's got lots of social media, and she's got this group hypnosis that's coming up. And the group hypnosis is coming up on October 6th. So, like a month from now. And then she also has a class coming up on the 20th, which is working with your inner children, but from an energetic standpoint, I would imagine. You guys, that's a big deal. If you work with that, I promise you, I'm telling you, you can come back in my emails. I always tell you guys this and say, Susan, it didn't work. Nobody ever does. When Spirit Guide throws the gauntlet down and says, if you do this, you will get a benefit, no one ever comes back and says, I didn't get a benefit. So I think this class is going to be something that could be very helpful if you have the money, if you have the time, if it fits your schedule, if you're called to do it, you might want to look into it. She's got a discount code for you, which will be in the description of this video. And you're going to continue to do classes. So if this is not the right time or the right place or the right money, follow her on YouTube, get on her mailing list, go to her website, get on her mailing list, because she's going to have more classes and you never know what's the right one that might be the right fit for you.
Yeah, I have classes scheduled once a month through January. So you're going to find 4 classes and 4 group hypnosis sessions. So you can look through there and see the little descriptions and see if something jumps out to you or you want to participate in something there. Yeah.
And healings. So you guys can I've had a healing with her. It was amazing. So you can get a healing on Zoom, like online. You don't have to be in Arizona. So she has that as well. So you guys check her out because this is one of your tools. This is one of your people that you can use to move through your life in a better, more healthy, more successful way.
Yeah. And I also have, I make gemstone light catchers. Up until now, they've just been for sale in my office. They are now available on the website. What's there, they're one of a kind. That's the only one that exists. They're infused with Reiki. They each have a little message there for you. I do have chakra ones. I do have multiples of the chakras, but all the other ones, that's the only one that's there. So if you love it, get it. If for some reason, I have a very limited stock on the chakra one. So if for some reason you try to purchase it and it's sold out, send me a text or an email because I need to place an order for some more supplies. So because I'm going to be making another batch. So don't feel like, oh, I missed it. I'll get on a list and I'll let you know when I get the supplies in and they're made. But they're to help remind you. Bring some energy into your space and really as reminders to focus, right? And so you can hang them anywhere you want to hang them to give you those little messages over and over again. So yeah, a few things that I have going on.
Fantastic. Well, I'm excited. I am super excited about your classes. I'm thankful that you came back on my channel again. I really appreciate it. And I hope that we can do this again sometime in the future because I just find it so helpful. If I got help, I'm pretty sure the viewers also felt that they were helped as well. But why don't you guys leave us a comment if you've watched this video this long and you have a question for Lori or you want to leave a comment? We would appreciate to read it. Take really good care, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and we'll catch you again soon. All right.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this Wisdom on Wednesdays edition. I really hope you found it helpful. As you can see on the screen, I have an entire playlist right here where you can see over 80 unique videos just like this one that can help you in all the areas of your life that you might find that you have a question or need a little extra assistance. This is all free, you guys. This is all a spiritual library, free for you to peruse and to view the videos as many times as you feel like you need to. I personally know that I'm going to be watching this video again because I found it so helpful. So click the link that you'll find here in a minute, or go to my main channel by clicking the little swirly logo, and you can click playlist from there, and you can click WOW. WOW, which is the acronym for Wisdom on Wednesdays. And then you can see all the videos. They're all there for you. Take really good care of yourself, and I'll see you again next Wednesday.